r/relationships. Commercial_manner_93 says, my BF feels guilty for having sex over the last 5 years with me BC of his strict, religious parents. So he now wants to tell them everything we have ever done intimately. Please help. My boyfriend 22 male and I 22 female have been together since we were 14. First boyfriend and I'm his first girlfriend. He has extremely strict parents, but family, his parents, is absolutely everything to him and his entire world. He has made it clear to me and has flat out said he would never choose me over his family. Anyways, his parents are extremely Christian as well as everyone in their life and who they surround themselves with. The rules that they have is no sex before marriage, which I understand and can respect, but then also no sleeping in the same room together even if we are engaged. No taking trips together unless we are married, even just road trips, and they still feel weird leaving us home alone, even though we are 22. Basically, my boyfriend was raised to uphold these beliefs, and they have been instilled in him since he was a kid. He genuinely believes in them and knows that they are morally correct to him because of his religion and also because he thinks his parents are correct about everything and he never wants to disappoint them. However, he has not followed all of these rules. We have had sex and we have slept in the same bed before marriage obviously. I think the first time was 5 years ago. This is something that he agreed to do at the time and was pushing it even more than I was. Except now and then he gets in these moods every few months for the last 5 years where he says I disappointed my parents. I disappointed myself. I know better. I was raised to be better than this. I regret the first time I ever did anything because I ruined it. I have this guilt that I carry every day and I can't keep this lie. He also is the biggest perfectionist I have ever met and is so hard on himself. To make a very long story short, because of him breaking these rules on and off over the last couple of years and also lying to his parents about it, all of a sudden he has this extremely overwhelming guilt because his dad told him I trust that you have made the right choices and I'm proud of you, and so now he tells me that he feels like he owes it to his dad to tell him everything that he has done with me. Such as that we have slept in the same bed and that we have had sex. He says he can't lie about it anymore and he needs to tell him the truth because he has been the best dad and he owes it to him. From one angle, I understand what he is saying, the guilt part. However, I absolutely feel betrayed and violated that he would discuss very personal things at him and I have done as adults to his parents. What we did was between only me and him. If he went and told his parents, I don't know the exact consequences that will happen. Once they get over the initial extreme anger, which I'm terrified of, and the lecturing to me and him, I believe they will forever have a grudge against me and I will never ever feel accepted. He will also get into so much trouble and have to face the consequences of his dad not trusting him or me, basically ever again. I told him absolutely not. I do not feel comfortable with him sharing those details with anybody, let alone his parents. But then he tells me that there's a reason you feel this way, because you know what we did was wrong. And if you make me wait and I don't come clean before they find out I lied, there will be no more you. There's a reason you feel guilty, and also are you telling me that how uncomfortable you feel is more important than my relationship with my dad? And I told him I don't think I would ever be able to trust him again if he told them. He basically told me that it is a risk he's willing to take because losing me would be hard, but losing his dad's trust would destroy him. There is other stuff wrong with the way he treats me and how he speaks to me sometimes, but honestly I cannot see my life without him, and we had roughly planned on getting engaged next summer. I'm honestly an amazing girlfriend and dedicate all of my time to him, and it isn't reciprocated. I do have a bit of codependency as I have unhealed trauma. I was so excited because I know that once we are married, his parents won't control him as much. But I don't know what to do. I need help so badly, and I'm heartbroken. I feel that he is trying to clear his guilty conscience at the expense of my feelings, which is a slap in the face after 8 years together. Please give me advice. If we broke up, I literally do not know who I'm outside of him, and it terrifies me. I don't think I could physically handle the heartbreak. Any advice is helpful. How do I go about this situation? TDLR, my boyfriend 22 male, of 8 years, and I have been intimate for the last 5 years, but since his parents are extremely religious and have instilled in him the rules, no intimacy before marriage, he is feeling overwhelmingly guilty for all of the intimate things we have done. So he wants to tell them everything intimate that we have ever done, even though I expressed to him that it would make me so extremely uncomfortable, and it means that he will probably lose me, since they will be so angry they will basically make us break up. Please help. Through account 037274 says, he made his choice when he decided to put his guilt above your feelings. Barton and Magellan says, I wish the commentariat could pick you up and scoop you away to a better situation, because this is a bad relationship and a really shitty situation your BF is putting you through. Unfortunately, we can't. I hope you find support, a therapist, a mentor figure, a close friend, a family member of your own not connected to your BF, his family, or his church. Gaining some independence from him will help, even if you ultimately stay in the relationship, which I hope you will sincerely consider not doing. And hearing yourself voice more of his actions out loud, and seeing other people outside his orbit's reactions may help you see that what he's doing isn't right, the religious guilt tripping, or talking badly to you. He is taking advantage of how close you are, and how much you value the relationship. Honestly, he needs therapy, not from a counselor affiliated with his church, to get his head on straight about his family, his values, etc. I know very few people who regretted ending a youthful relationship where things weren't feeling right, and a lot of people who absolutely regret staying in those awful relationships, wasting a lot of their young adulthood on someone who wasn't worth it. You feel slapped in the face by his actions because he did metaphorically slap you in the face. I'd urge you not to let him do it again. Please know that there are other people in this world who could give you support and be your friend without manipulating you or treating you badly. You're worth so much more than someone who's inconstant, emotionally abusive, shames you himself, and plans to allow others to shame you, which is absolutely going to happen. If he makes his grand confession, families like his tend to close ranks against outsiders, and I'd bet money will be more likely to shame a woman for her sexual activities than a guy. Little Ghostier says, he will never be a good BF or husband if he puts his subservience or friendship with his parents over the covenant of a relationship, especially at the cost of disrespecting you. To share yourself intimately with him was something he presumably was enthusiastic about, and he intends to betray that intimacy and trust to man, parents, rather than God. This may even be more problematic, since he is a grown adult and has essentially engaged in adultery, premarital sex, defined by some, requiring him to marry you under some strict Christian teachings. Instead, he is more worried about his parents ruling in his life than his inadvertent wife, the woman he dishonored, or his God. I would tell him this to discourage him sharing, and prompts reconsider him in your life. He seems like the type to be triggered by the implication he is not a grown man, isn't following the Christian idea of a gentleman, and is possibly idolizing parents. He is not a child anymore. The scriptures on honoring your parents is about respect and support, absolutely not disrespecting yourself and others to allow their control in your relations with your common law wife/partner. This is hugely r/relationships. Super Situation 2594 says, my 24F husband, 26 meters, masturbated to photos of my best friend, 23F. So as the title says, my husband, 7 years together, 2 of them married, decided to get a nut off to photos of my best friend. The photos weren't sent to him but to me. She has low confidence in her body, and so every now and then when she's feeling really good about herself she'll send a photo to me, which I don't mind. I'm happy to shower her with love and tell her how beautiful she is. That morning we had a conversation about what more we wanted out of our relationship, and I asked him to be more loving to me. It doesn't have to be anything grand, just flowers every now and a date would be really nice. I miss him giving me a cute stuffed animal he saw, or randomly taking me to a beautiful garden. After this conversation though, while I was at work, he got on my iPad and went through my messages between my friend and I and saw her photos. He imported them to his phone and masturbated to them. When I got off work he had flowers waiting for me, and I was overjoyed. I showered him with kisses and thank yous, and he acted like normal, no nervousness at what he had done. Later that night I went to use his phone, and I don't know why but something in me told me to look through his photos, and there she was in lingerie. He didn't even try to hide them. They were in his recent photos. I confronted him crying and pissed because WTF, and he didn't have an answer for me besides I masturbated to them. I asked if he even thought about how that would make me feel, or if he even thought about me at all during, and he shook his head no, looking like a kicked puppy. I made him sleep on the couch that night and didn't say a word to him the next day. I just couldn't even look at him without thinking about him getting a nut off to my best friend. I'm pissed, embarrassed, and just upset in general. I can't believe he did this and didn't think one time about what this would do to me. I'm pissed he objectified my best friend and took these photos from me without my permission or hers and acted like some stupid high school boy. Has never done something like this before, at least that I know of, but it's making me question every interaction that they have and how he really feels about her. At this point right now I just feel numb. I still can't look at him and has been quiet too, giving me space I guess. I want him to grovel for my forgiveness and has said sorry and that he'll do better, but it's just not enough. I don't know what I want really. I don't even know what the next step after this will be. PS. My husband has access to my phone, and I have access to his. It's never been an issue between either of us. We're both very open and honest with each other, at least till now. Too long. Didn't read. My husband stole sexy photos of my friend from my phone and masturbated to them. I'm disgusted and at a loss of what. Leave the popular girl says. Well, can't really blame him if your friend is way hotter than you. Too Muckled says. I know this comment is going to be the outlier, and to be clear I completely understand just how terrible this made you feel, but he's busted a lot of nuts thinking about this friend. He's jerked off to any other friends you have, any decent looking coworkers, neighbors, exes, people he's met in passing, that one woman he saw drive by, and anyone else you can possibly, and some you can't, imagine he ever fantasize about. Guys like to come. Guys really like to come to new things. It's shitty. As a guy, it's really shitty. That being said, you're never going to change that in a guy's mind. Any guy who says they'd never do this stuff, or never have, are lying to you. Rintdirt says. Whether you trust him again or not is entirely up to you, but I do think it's possible that it was just a one-time thing. You're totally justified in feeling hurt and betrayed, and you absolutely don't have to forgive him. But for me personally, this type of thing isn't necessarily irredeemable. Just want to offer an alternative perspective to what's already been said. Well, Unicorn says. Hope you told your friend. She has a right to know her pics aren't safe on your phone. This is such a gross thing of your husband to do. Consent is basic human decency. If you are going to stay, he needs to understand that what he did is awful and criminal, since your friend did not consent to those photos being shared. Lots of therapy might help you work through it. I don't know if I could ever look at someone the same way though, after they did something like this. It's so easy to find porn people want to share. There is no need and absolutely no excuse to stealing private photos for sexual use. Rafosho says. Time to move on, you're young. Find a man who actually loves you. The spark shouldn't be gone this early in a marriage. Chuajanlandia says. Even if you pass the fact of the photos, he masturbated to a close friend of yours, that's a tiny step before real physical cheating. I think you should end the relationship. Annabelle_Sugar Sweet says. Nah, there is literally no coming back from this. Also, he probably has done stuff like that before. He fancies your mate more than you. I would tell him to get foe. Little_Balaf_Fur says. That would be the end for me, especially at 24. Banana Sanjam says. I'll be making him sleep outside. Lol. Fan says. Please do not reward his shitassery with your continued presence in his life. Funny Fisherman 931 says. Wow, what? So he took her pic without her consent, without yours, then he masturbated to it. This is not innocent. We are not talking about a random stranger, we are talking about SB he knows and sees. You do not do this with friends' pics, unless you are already attracted to them, and he is attracted to her. I don't know how you can ever trust him again. I would never look at him the same way. What he did was disgusting, and disrespectful to everyone. Tell him that it will take a lot of effort for you to forgive him, and trust him again. He has to understand, BC I doubt he even realizes how bad this is, that he made huge mistake that will take time, and grovel to get over it. That's all for this video, thank you for watching, please subscribe.